little bit more in-depth speeches about them and their life together. Our first speaker is Roger's niece, who is up from Spencer, Iowa, who's very active in the Spencer Community Theater. Surprise, surprise. She's got a daughter, Kirby, and a son, Kyle, and she's a sales and marketing supervisor for a senior community and builds bike trails. Kathy, please.
Before I begin my speech this evening, I'd like to say for the last 50 years I've heard many of your names, and so it's such a pleasure to finally put names with a face, so thank you.
Were you frightened?
And Bob, you can start your timer now. You told me I have 5 minutes. And no, I did not memorize my speech, so. How many of you in the room have been blessed to have a dog? Okay, we have lots of pet lovers. For those of you that have, you know the feeling of excitement when you get home and they greet you at the door with their happy barks and tails wagging.
Bob does that for Roger.
Yeah. Well, I can also tell you that's pretty much the way it was growing up. Every time someone said Roger and Bob were coming to Iowa for a visit, there was a lot of happy anticipation from family waiting for their arrival. My dear uncles, Roger and Bob, R&R, have long been known as, by many as the dynamic duo. And for all of us lucky enough to spend time with them, we know why. They exude the antics of a couple where fun, laughter, and love are a way of life to all who know them, and even to those who meet them for the very first time. Growing up, the one thing I knew whenever we were lucky enough to get together is we were in for the unexpected. Because you never knew what pranks might be had or words might be said by a stationary object in the room. Thanks to Uncle Bob, the ventriloquist. Sort of like the family vacation when we were just getting to know Bob, and he decided to make a nest of coats and tell my 5-year-old little brother, who was supposed to be napping, that if he laid there long enough, he would turn into a bird. To this day, my brother Jeff still wished it had happened. Or the many times I heard my mom tell the story about the day Uncle Roger began dancing with his sister, who is my mom, and my aunt down a grocery store aisle for everyone in my mom's hometown to see. I also remember whenever she told that story, she would laugh till she cried, which is a very common family trait, and you could see that in Bob tonight when Wendy and Jake were giving their speeches. And of course, there was also the time that my Uncle Roger had the distinct honor of bringing high school graduates, Thelma and Louise, myself and my best high school friend, to Minneapolis for the very first time. We knew we were in for an adventure from the minute we got into his convertible. She and I still reminisce about that day. No matter what the occasion, the love between these two was apparent, and we all knew that it was necessary to bow to Bob. We're just teasing. As your niece, I'm very, very glad the stars were aligned the day you two met, and that you've been able to hold it together through the good, the bad, the happy, and the sad times. The one thing I know for sure, and have heard from many through the years, is the two of you have brought true joy and unforgettable laughter into many lives along your journey. Congratulations to both of you. I love you both very much, and may you celebrate many more wonderful years together.
Thank you, Kathy. Our next speaker is the boy. Birth name Lee. He came to Fall Creek in 1998, 99, I believe, after I was gone. And very quickly became a family member to Bob and Roger. Bob and Roger. He graduated from UWC with a computer science degree. And as a family, they have seen theater, concerts, operas, traveled the world together. What's really awesome is that Lee is is here for this event from his home now in Tokyo, Japan, where he works for Kai Japanese Language School as an IT coordinator. During dinner, I was just informed that they just started their new term, so he's got to get home on Tuesday to make sure all the iPads are working. So,
I don't know how to follow up that speech, and I don't know really what to say. I don't want to like give a story that's all about me, but my father taught me that. And my other father taught me patience, especially when I was ordered out of the house and I went crying with my little packed bag, and he said, "It'll be okay, just go and I'll call you." I was a little orphan boy, a little Cinderella, and I moved to Fall Creek in the summer of 1999, and I started my last 2 years of high school in this little podunk high school. It was good. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. Coming from La Crosse Central, where I had 300 people in my class, and going to a class of 67, where I had issues with my self-confidence and stuff, and people were there for me. And it turned out that the whole bloody school was there for me when I had to change foster homes, including these wonderful men. I was finding myself. I did not audition for the play that fall. And Bob came out to study hall, and he said, "We need a person for the man in gray." And I really wanted to do theater, but I didn't have the confidence to audition, and I said, "Okay, I'll do it." And that was the beginning of a long journey. And I don't know if it was that play or the next, but it was over Thanksgiving. We were getting ready for things, and I was told to do X, Y, and Z, and that he was going to be out of town, and there was a puppy sitter, and I should call this number. This is a theme, isn't
right?
it?
I called 832-4608.
And I called, and I got, I don't know, Wendy or someone. Somebody answered the phone, and this, and then they're out of town. And I got to, did I say "Hey Siri" too loud? I got back, and I had recently heard a rumor about Mr. Carr, and I needed someone to talk to, and he was in from after a drama class, and I sat down. We were sitting in the theater seats, and at that time I couldn't even say the word gay. I was lost, I was confused, what I felt that what I was wrong. And I sat down with him and somehow managed to spit out how I was feeling, and I said, "Well, I called your house, and the puppy sitter said you were out of town with you and your person." And I think that's our family story that runs to this day. Bob could tell you he finished up being a very supportive and nice teacher and ran to the phone to call Roger and say, like, "Oh my God, I've been out." Bob introduced me to the youth group here at Eau Claire, and that was the beginning of a lot of good things. My foster family at the time didn't really like me coming to acceptance with myself, and these men went out of their way to try to get certified as foster parents. All the teachers at the school wrote into the foster care agency, and in the end, I was able to stay in the community. I was able to start having weekend visits with them. They bought me a suit. They took me to dinner and theater, of course. Scolded me. Bob got on his soapbox. And
a soapbox will travel.
You know, foster care, a lot of kids in this world go through hardships, family, losing family, whatever. And even there are good people in the world that make foster homes, and even though they have good intentions, it's not always enough. And I didn't know how to make decisions for myself. I wasn't a good conversationalist, as I was taught a lot about how to not just start spitting out lots of things I'm thinking, but to ask questions and to be a part of the group and the conversation. These guys saved my life. And I also didn't know how to trust and love. And there are probably few people in the world I can say I love as much as R&R. So, I wouldn't have gone to Japan. I would have probably gone to college, but the exact same story. I was told you're going to college, and it just happened to be UWEC. This one was retired the year before, so I do think I got in on my own good. Not that you didn't, we did Joseph in high school. 18th birthday was the best birthday of my life. Roger drove me to Whitehall. And I took my driver's license test because I was a ward of the state, so I couldn't get a license from 16. And then I went back to school, and then it was the performance of Joseph, and then there was a big party in Bob's room with red velvet cakes, and it was literally one of the best days of my life. Thank you for and I'm really glad to be here to celebrate your guys' 50th. You've always been an inspiration. I don't know if you can believe this, but I was a hopeless romantic 18-year-old drama queen who thought that I was never gonna find love. And how many people have heard the Snowbank story? I guess this is only told to Fall Creek High School students.
I may have forgotten in my drinking, I don't know.
Okay, anyways, they have been an inspiration to me about the fact that whether you're gay or straight, you can find someone you love, you can be with a partner, and that, all that good stuff. So I don't want to take up any more time. I'm really glad that I could get my work to let me come here and share this family time. This big family time. And actually, there's so many of you, I know your names, and I've never gotten to meet you. So this is really wonderful. It kind of doesn't close a chapter, but it rounds out this happiness inside me of what my family is. So thank you very much.
I remember when Lee did move back and all that was going down, I remember thinking, what the hell are they doing? It makes sense. And it does make sense, and it's a very good thing. So, what Sandy was talking about before was we got a present from somebody who couldn't be here. I don't know who. Well, you have to open it now.
Oh no. No.
I don't know what it is. We don't.
You gotta open it.
You gotta open it.
I cannot continue. I have very strict instructions.
It might be a puppy. Like for a dentist. guys for the past 25 years.
No, 40, 50.
After this damn Someday Antique bought in Walgreens. Woolworth.
Bob, we always owe you a present.
Yes, we do. What very souls do we get it?
And we left it in Palm Springs, and we left Palm Springs on the wall behind me in a well-hidden place.
There is no card on it. We don't know.
Oh, yes, we do. But it has that grappling trophy for years, so you would understand that.
Oh my God.
Anybody with a knife or a scissors? We got a knife.
Gary!
Do it with the plum.
Don't cut the puppet.
Don't
cut the puppet.
I don't cut the vein like what's in the
It's not bloody.
I thought maybe you wanted to see Terry.
That's no noise.
I need to clean a few things. Yeah, I will. Like the good little pie.
15 years. Almost going back and forth, bad now back again. And it's taped up on the back.
Someday Antique.
There were two of them in a plastic, and it said Someday Antique on each side. Back and forth. My turn to speak.
Our final two speakers are. Did you see the way he handed it to me? I was set up for failure on that one. Now I have to take it home. It's just going to show up at David's party next year. Roger wants to say something. Yeah.
My turn. Bob has to be the last, of course.
Bob
in case things will be tied up. This is really a fun occasion. I was really worried that I would get all emotional and probably not be able to speak, but I'm okay, man. It's so fun to have all these people together that we love. Some of you we've known a short time, some a long time. There are some people who are not here, and I got to mention them because the Drever family were part of our lives for so long, and we were rejected 2 years ago, and that really hurts. And Gary and Sue were part of our lives, and they were not here, but everybody else is here. So wonderful. Thank you so much. The story is of our meeting when I in 1950. In the fall of '62, when we started college, I was the homecoming chair at Winona State University, or Winona College then, and I had to go and witness the talent show tryouts. And at that point, I was not gay, I was so straight, I was like, oh God.
You weren't a Republican, were you?
No. I was a fraternity guy. And I had to go and witness these tryouts, and this person came on stage with a black dummy. In those days,
Ventriloquist dummy.
yeah. Named Joey. And I so wanted to bring Joey here, but we lost his head. We still have his body. But we still have his head. Anyway, he and Joey auditioned, or whatever it was, for the homecoming show. And I remember it was because it was pretty good. I never saw a ventriloquist before, probably. And then 2 years later, I was teaching in school in Wausau, and I went to Minneapolis because I had to escape because I realized that I was probably gay and I couldn't be gay in Wausau. So I went to Minneapolis, and I went into a gay bar, And I saw Tommy, our friend Tommy, and Bob, and oh my God, they made a mistake. They're in a bar. They shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here. I ran away. And then later that night, I met Tommy and another gay boy. I realized he was gay too. And so we talked for a long time. And he told me that Bob and he were up there coaching a country western singer in diction. I believed it. 3 or 4 years later, after we were together, I said, "Whatever happened to that country western singer?" What are you talking about? Anyway, well, eventually Bob and I got together, and the next day I drove him back to Winona, where he was living at that point. And then on the way back, I said that my heart was on my sleeve, and it was. I really decided it was time for me to find the right guy, and I was the right guy that night, I knew. And so we went back to Winona, and then he used to come over to Wausau by train to see me, and then eventually we got moved to Menominee, and then to Eau Claire, and he followed me to Eau Claire to go to school, and I luckily got a job at the university, which lasted for 30 years, and he got a job at Fall Creek, which lasted 30 more plus years, and we got to influence all these people in our lives, and we got to have a good time. I got to thank Sandy for the wonderful flowers, but I just lost my...
I didn't put it on, Sandy. I didn't do it.
Avalon has been the best part of our lives with flowers. Always, we always say it. Anyway, I got to read this to you. I have loved you for 50 years, that's 600 months, 18,250 days, 438,000 hours, 26,280,000 minutes, and who's counting? We've been lucky we found each other because we do match each other. You know, he's my yin to my yang, and we have times when we don't get along. But we get along mostly times, so we've lasted for 50 freaking years. He said that we arrived at 50 years together is due as much to luck as to love, a talent for knowing when we stumble, where we fall, and how we get up.
There's a lot to say.
5 minutes, Bob.
He doesn't have a clipboard. I invite this abuse. And be paid for your meal. Anyways, this is remarkable in a lot of reasons, not just because of us. But most of our lives were spent hidden. We lived in a time where we could have been fired, we could have been kicked out of our homes, our apartments, or we could have been kicked out of school. And so this transition for us is a bit miraculous, but very puzzling. We're not used to being open. I have my supporters back there from school, and I asked them once, and it was only kids, the beauty of kids, I said, after we came here, I said, what did you guys think? You know, because Roger's at all the plays and blah, blah, blah. And through the beauty of children, but much to my disappointment, they said, nothing. I wanted a story. Anyway, when we decided to do this, and you don't know Roger as well as I do, but this was a remarkable thing for him to agree to do, and this was really his idea. Because Roger, the common term is closeted. And granted, I made a better entrance exit. But this was a major step for him to do this. Then we sat down and thought, we wanted to be safe, and we wanted only those that meant something to us. Not having, you know, I don't know, it's not audacious, but we all have lots of friends, and some people have open houses where you come and go. But we wanted 50 people that were significant to our lives. Well, we weren't able to limit to 50. out a little bit more. And so we want to thank you for being our friends and support, etc. A couple of things. A story that he brought up, a snowdrift story. When I was teaching, and we did Canterbury Tales, and we talked about the squire who's young and youthful, and he stays up all night singing to his girlfriend beneath a balcony, and you know, that youthful fervor and his broken heart and so forth. I said, well, you know, I can identify with my first broken heart. I said, I was so in love with Carol Passy. I just walked by her house, you know, just to see her, and then we dated, and it was the winter, and she decided that we weren't meant for each other, and I was so heartbroken, and Linda, my friend, gave me a ride home. And
Mind as flexible as a slow-moving.
shut up! That's a different story. They are the only ones who graduated not knowing their school song, but know the Wabash. So anyway, I told the story about how my heart was so broken, and my friend was taking me home, and we got to the top of Coffee Mill Bluff, and I said, "Stop the car! I want to get out!" And I threw myself in the snowdrift, and I cried, "Let me die! Let me die!" So he's a senior.
Very impressionable.
Yes, I'm telling him, and probably one of the better performances. Oh, no, God! And the class files out, and he's standing by my desk, and he says, "Wasn't a girl, was it?" It was Larry Ladwig.
Oh, Larry.
So, how I met Roger. He mentioned Tommy. Tommy and he was my best friend, he's now gone. But we thought they used to call us the Stardust Twins. At the teachers at the university used to call us the Stardust Twins. And we would go up to Minneapolis for the weekend, we'd get all dressed up. Sometimes I'd be a priest. And we go to the bar car, and Tom would be something, or then we get people to buy us drinks. And at that particular time, I don't know if it's a country western singer or not, we both loved Marlene Dietrich. And we memorized most of her songs in German. So it was Tommy's idea that he would be Baron von Leuchtenberg, and I would be his translator. And so we go to the bar car, and he would rattle off some lyric of Marlene Dietrich's, and then I would rattle off another lyric of Marlene Dietrich's. And so you had this German conversation. Well, of course, people became interested in this, and they'd sidle over and wonder, well, say they started buying us drinks, and that was the whole idea. And so I said, oh, yeah, it's the Baron, he's the first step, I'm his translator. And so they would ask him a question. Oh, so I rattle off a lyric, and Tommy rattle off another lyric, and then I translate for him. And so by the time we got to Minneapolis, of course we were drunk. I mean, we didn't have any money, we're college students. So we always had a game to get to Minneapolis. Anyway, I didn't know about the country western story. But yeah, we were in the gay bar, and of course we were young and just knew we were dead. And we were there being very popular. And Roger goes across the bar and we go through, he doesn't know where he is. So we turn our back. So he wouldn't have to see us. So once he realized where he was, he wouldn't be embarrassed. And when he turned around, he was gone, and that was fine, and we stayed in town and decided to go to the other bar. Well, by the time I get there, he and Roger struck up this friend who was talking. Yes, he was supposed to be there. And we were supposed to be there. Anyway, he was staying with friends
In Edina.
in Edina who have just gotten a new house, a ranch-style house. And he wanted to show us it, so we went out to, because that's where he says, it's a lovely house. And in the basement, remember what a rumpus room was? Yeah. So here was this rumpus room. And he takes me on showing me the house, and I'm pretending I care. As only I can. And I'm oohing and ahhing appropriately. And I turn around, and there he's standing with that smile that still melts my heart. And he held out his arms, and that was it. I walked into those, and unfortunately, I haven't walked out since. In those early years, when you make promises to each other, and you're lying there, sitting there, he said, I will always love you, I'll always protect you, I'll always take care of you, and I'll always defend you, and I'll show you the world. Everybody knows, all of you know, he does take care of me. I don't do a damn thing. I want to use the old Tennessee Williams line, and what do you do for Mr. Drone? I sleep with him. But in everything I have done. Oh, I watched some. Oh, I'll start all over again. But everything I've done, he's been behind me. He sees more in me than I have ever seen, and he pushes me in those directions. In the old days, there was a saying, and probably even today, if you want to make an enemy of Roger, just say something bad about Bob. And he has loved me for all these years, and I love him for all these years. Thank you.
Years ago, realize what they have. I used to live in Ely, Minnesota, working for an outfitter, and there was a day that I found myself in a hammock reading a book by a local author who was in this room, who shall remain nameless. But he shared there's a story in there about when one of them was in the hospital and the other could not be with them. I didn't know that story, and I found it quite odd in my little world that I was at family friend's house at a cabin in northern Minnesota, reading a book by a friend about friends who, it was very bizarre. But I immediately got on the phone with Ann Sessions of the Theater Guild and called and said, what was this all about? And she filled me in. To know that that world existed and that you waded through those waters and stuck it out. You're 2016 today, celebrating 50 years together, is remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. To put it in a theater metaphor, of course, Bob is the star. But Roger is the run and support crew backstage, making everything happen. Not getting the bow.
My name tag says St. Roger.
Mine says Queen of Cameo. You already did it, but all I ask again, in true theater fashion, please give them a standing ovation. Clean up.
Music.
That was it.
They do.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Oh, really? Oh, there's Russ right there.